Hello everyone and welcome back to Faithful to the Traitors. My name's Ben and I am still a faithful.
Hello, I'm Alex. I am also
tapping away at your laptop.
Tapping away. So I just remembered something as I sat here. I was always busy me. I'm always busy me. I'm also faithful. And before we start, newsflash everyone.
We've started.
Last week, I was curious because we've now started a precedent that we know that people ride bikes to work.
Yeah.
And we wanted to know...
Widamoo rode bike to work.
Yeah, we found out that Widamoo rode a bike to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were fascinated. Do others ride bikes to work? And Andrew had been banished. And I was like...
Well...
My biggest question really... Does he ride a bike to work?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what?
Because his fact file didn't have many facts.
It didn't tell us if he rode a bike to work.
So we had to make up our own facts.
We did.
Which we'll do again this week too.
Yes. and may ask the same question again. But Andrew got in touch.
Oh,
Andrew got in touch.
Lovely Andrew of the dogs, yes.
Love you, Andrew. Hello, thank you for listening or watching.
Not love you, Andrew. Lovely Andrew.
I'm saying I love you, Andrew.
Okay, sorry.
I'm allowed my own opinion on Andrew.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Are you Brittany?
I am. I'm Brittany.
You're going to take him to the end.
I was going to take him to the end. Andrew got in touch and he said, and I can now confirm, he does indeed ride a bike. No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
You had one job.
And I got it wrong.
Go again. Right, what does he do?
Newsflash, Andrew does not ride a bike to work.
Okay.
So thank you, Andrew, for getting in touch.
So next year, the spinoff.nz.co.nz, maybe this is a question they need to be asking.
They need to ask this question.
They need to ask some questions at least, not just make snarl remarks.
Hard-hitting reporting. This is what we want. Mm-hmm. This is what we need. This is what the journalists should be asking.
Shana.
Do you wear a bicycle? Do you ride a bicycle to work?
Maybe there's a reason you're not a journalist. You can't get the question out.
I can't even get the question out.
You can't get it out, can you?
And then when they give the answer, I then change it to my own opinion. So thank you for getting in touch. Don't forget everyone can get in touch. Everyone, the world can get in touch with us by going and emailing us faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. You can search for us on YouTube where you can also watch this podcast. This is also a video podcast on Spotify.
You can comment on YouTube. Someone said, I love you guys, but I don't know what you're talking about. We can't watch New Zealand Traitors here. Well, that's because this series, the New Zealand one, it's for the New Zealanders. We're a worldwide audience.
Yes. We are.
But it will come around the world eventually.
I believe the New Zealand version is on iPlayer Series 1.
Exactly.
And if you are watching Series 1 of the New Zealand version, we've also got the podcast for that.
Yeah.
Very good series.
We're all there.
So you can search us on YouTube, Faithful to the Traitors podcast, as Ben says. You can comment underneath the video too. You can get in touch with us on Twitter @Traitors Podcast, on Instagram or Threads @Faithful to the Traitors. And if you enjoy the show and want to support it, go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful. Don't forget to share, tell your friends, subscribe, ring the bell, all the good stuff, just so people know that we are there.
You can prize a silver bar from Paul Henry's cold dead hands. That's what Geraldine did.
She did.
She bought us a silver bar, so as the series goes on, our silver bars go up.
Yes.
That's the plan.
Yes. We don't have to put our hands in mouse traps. Oh, no.
We could.
Not yet.
That was a very New Zealand Traitors task.
You say they're every task.
Yeah, well, they are.
Yeah. They have their
low
own way.
budget and just what they are on a beach.
I thought it was good, actually.
New Zealand looks very English, doesn't it?
I think the climate is similar.
Yeah. Or should I say England looks very New Zealand? Like when they're running down that beach, I thought, I've been there. Okay, so Geraldine said...
We haven't been there.
You're the main reason I keep watching the various international versions of the Traitors. That's the opposite comment from the YouTube comment, isn't it? How good's that? Some people can't do it, some people can. Listening to you two talk about it is the highlight of every episode. Currently, I'm desperately waiting for you to release episode 5 and 6 of New Zealand Traitors. Cheers from Berlin.
Hello.
So there you go.
From Berlin. We do apologise that these will come out a little later. Family circumstances, unfortunately, caused us to have to just delay it a little bit. So thank you if you have waited for us with bated breath.
It's been all over because I think our first lot were delayed. So we should be on time from now
next
on for the rest
week.
Of the series,
We should be hopefully
but
straight
who knows
away.
What's going to happen?
Fingers crossed. Andrew's news may have been big news, but I've got bigger news. So you remember in episode 1, you were saying, why is Jason wearing a fluorescent jacket? He doesn't work on the roads.
Yes, I was confused by this.
Yep. Well, we've now learnt something about his jacket.
Mm-hmm.
It is his I've got nothing else to wear because my clothes are in the wash, but it's still my lucky fluorescent jacket.
Lucky fluorescent jacket. The way he was talking about that, he said vest actually, wasn't it? My lucky vest.
See my vest. See my vest.
The way he was talking about, because I think I was looking away at the time, he said, "Oh, my lucky vest." I looked up and I was expecting him to be wearing like a waistcoat or something, but it was like a fluorescent high vis.
Was the
jacket.
vest you were discussing from episode 1?
Yeah, is it a fashion item that looks like one, or is it just a high vis vest?
I think it's a vest you would wear, say,
I was wondering
for
if it was a
cycling
fashion
to work. So you're seen by other cars.
Well, I like Joe's headscarf this week.
Joe,
I was going to put one on quick, but I couldn't find one.
Oh, that's a shame.
Headscarf.
Joe had a headscarf for the task because he got his hair wet. His hair wet. That's very English. He got his hair wet.
That did make me laugh when Paul Henry was giving away pretty obvious clues.
Yeah, a harmy hearties. All at sea, are we? Gonna get a bit wet around the ears.
About what it was going to be.
Joe's like, I don't know what it could be. What could this task be?
And Joe was like, I'll do it. And then he told what it was do. It was like, oh. Although I thought they were going to be submerged in water and it was going to slowly fill, is what I was thinking in my head. But the budget obviously wouldn't allow.
One of the prerequisites of them choosing themselves was, you don't mind tight spaces, you don't mind getting wet. They even says you don't mind getting wet, and still Joe was surprised that he was going to get his hair wet. And you can hold your breath. So I thought they were going to dip them in water and make them hold their breath.
I thought they were going to be placed on the beach, and the tide was going to come in.
Yeah,
and it was going to get a bit splashed into the box, and their bums and feet would get wet or something, and it would slowly fill up until they got released. But no, it didn't happen.
I mean, I don't think they only had 20 minutes. I don't think the tide would have come in that far.
But they could have just
I know what you're
poured
saying.
water or something in there.
Just had the production crew just splash buckets of water at them.
One of them had a spider in there with them, but I don't think that was deliberate. That was just...
Mark had a spider in there, but
bit
you know
of
what else
nature.
Mark had in that box with him? He had a notebook. He was using his time to write out his notes, his little detective notes. He had his stick as well, his cane in there with him, so we could tap it. Let me out.
No one's questioned his cane, apart from Paul Henry, but like he keeps running up
Paul Henry's discrimination.
Well, yeah. He keeps running up places, and then the next shot he had a cane, and I was just like, what's going on here? I need it explained.
Well, he said at the top of the series that he was kind of using it for sympathy and a way kind of like to get him almost for some reason kind of like
I'm not a traitor.
Sympathy, isn't it? Yeah, sympathy from people that they might think he's a traitor. I genuinely believe he has a use for it because he overexerted himself, and if you noticed, he seemed to genuinely kind of be a bit like, oh,
that's true,
when he went over to get the shield. But yeah, it's a very odd kind of placement for Mark to keep having his cane. 1 minute it's there, 1 minute it's not.
We also have to eat humble pie because the whole series we've been talking about Mike thought he was the head traitor, but Whitney's the head traitor, and that's all been turned on its head this week.
Really has, hasn't it? Just, I mean, we thought Whitney was. I mean, we'll talk about the round table in a sec, but my goodness, Whitney fell apart. Let's be honest, Whitney fell apart.
I wasn't expecting it to happen either. When Mike started doing it, I thought, oh, he's done this too early. It's going to be one or two votes.
Well, he went round the group. Well, so you saw right at the beginning that Mike was wrangling up troops, and he was basically pushing Whitney's name to. He did it to Mark. He knew he had a friend in Brittany, so he convinced Brittany as well. And Bailey, yeah, as well. And he was very convincing at the round table as well. You know.
Did you notice his little tick though? His giveaway. He goes. And then does it.
No, he was nervous. He was nervous.
He did that about 3 times. I was like, if I was sitting around that table, I'd be looking at that.
Well, no, he was nervous because he knew what he was doing was a huge risk. And if you also notice, once Mike had reeled out his suspicions, Whitney then also kind of lost her way as well when she was talking. She kind of went,
She didn't know what was going on.
That's what I mean.
Expecting it, was she?
No, she wasn't. This was the first blind side of the series. We've seen it in other series. This is in the past as well. But Mike, I think Mike kind of did it right. He rounded up the right people. He chose the right people to get on his side. Brittany was a given. He couldn't convince everyone, of course, but again, his argument points around the round table were also very convincing as well. And so
were they? Because I was
they must have been because
this.
he made a lot of people change their mind. A lot of people went in there thinking they were going to vote for Noel. They went in there thinking they were going to vote for Noel, and there was 5 people who didn't change their mind. Donna being the most notable.
Well, Donna said at breakfast. She was there with her pint and her glass of wine and a shot of gin on her head, and she was like, "I ain't changing my vote, no matter what happens today.
Ain't nobody got time for that."
She had a McDonald's. didn't change
Oh,
her mind.
love the sponsorship deal, by the way. I mean, they must be doing well if they've got a McDonald's sponsorship deal. That was product placement at its best. If you are studying media at university or college and you want to, and you're doing a dissertation on product placement on a TV show, I have to say that was probably one of the greatest I've ever seen in my life. Paul Henry's built it up. You must be hungry after your long task. A nice delicious meal that will fill you up and as good value would help you out. Go back to your cars and you can have one when you get there. And then this there sat on the back seat was 3 McDonald's bags and everything they could ever have dreamt of. And they were eating there. And as they were eating, you could
I saw there was a Big Mac there was a chicken
There was a
sandwich.
salad.
I think Donna had a salad.
I didn't see a McPlant.
Fizzy drinks.
Do you get a McPlant out in New Zealand? Get in touch with us, contestants or anyone's listening.
Are any contestants vegan?
Well, this is it. I mean, was the salad the only option for the vegan?
Did you get to
contestant?
order what you wanted, or were you just told this is what you?
They seemed quite surprised. So unless they before they started, because we found in Big Brother, they were giving them treats, and they said, "Oh, they asked me what my favourite coffee was before I went into the house." So before they went into doing the Traitors, maybe they were all asked, when you have a McDonald's, what's your standard order?
Salad.
Yeah, salad and a Fanta. But you said, right, going back on what you just said, I said that Mike convinced a lot of people around the round table to change their vote to
Whitney.
Whitney.
That's what we're talking about,
You said before the McDonald's chat, by the way, McDonald's, if you want to sponsor us, I'm loving it.
Don't look my name up with McDonald's, you'll get bad news articles. What we were saying is that the thing that Mike was pressing, she must be a traitor, was a bit odd to me, because he was saying that it was during last week's task when they had to feel around blindfolded, very New Zealand, and they had to guess what the organ was, and she said it was a hoof, and it was a pair of lungs, and she's an undertaker, she does all the things with the bodies, and Mike was like, well, she doesn't know what those pair of lungs were. It's what's that got to do with her being a traitor, Mike?
Now, I get
and
you.
everyone was like, yeah, that's really good, actually. I was like, is it really good? Because even if she is lying about her job or whatever, that's got nothing to do with her being a traitor. I guess they're just trying to find anything, aren't they?
I get you. And a lot of reasons are normally very tenuous. And I agree with you. And last week I agreed with you because Mike kind of put out the feels then about this, his theory where we knew he was basically trying to get rid of one of his own, and we both said that's really dumb. That's like people who say people deliberately throw a challenge. Why would you throw a challenge? The pot is collective, so there's no benefit from a traitor from doing that, unless it's series 2 of Australia Traitors and the person's a complete and utter twazzle. However,
he had a great revenge body though on Instagram, didn't he? Afterwards,
he really did. So so he said, as you said, and he elaborated on that at the round table, and this I thought this was a good elaboration, because I thought this this was a good reason for why someone shouldn't have made that silly mistake, and that is that we all knew they were internal organs. You said a hoof, which is an external organ,
which was one of the props in the breakfast which you saw.
Exactly.
So
So again,
how cheap do you think the show is?
Yeah, they're not going to reuse
It can afford one hoof.
Yeah, they're just going to slaughter loads of animals for the benefit. I'm loving it, McDonald's. I'm loving it. So and then he also added a caveat, which is also a good caveat. I think is a good way of getting people to kind of suddenly pay attention, and that is that from day one he had his suspicions. And they were confirmed when this had happened.
Those suspicions from the second he took his hood off, looked across the conclave,
Saw
and saw his fellow traitor.
She came out with she had 2 hooves coming out of her
Whitney actually has 2 hooves for feet.
Yeah. Whitney, you should have known what a hoof is. You have hoofs. So I think Mike chose his words very carefully. He had a script. He had a plan before he went into the round table.
So it's always we say this every series because the traitors do this now, but it is always dangerous when a traitor does this, because I always just I think of the idea of it doesn't work and then you have to do your meeting afterwards in front of each other.
But I think, like I said,
the awkwardness of that would just make me never
want to
betray a traitor
or be a traitor. Yeah,
unless I was 100% sure.
I've always said I would prefer to be a faithful, because it may be a harder game, but I think it's an honest game. With being a traitor, it's very tough, because you're not only watching your back, you're watching. You're not only watching your back, but you're having to almost give the indication that you're watching everyone's back, and unless you're in its nature, being a traitor means that you are traitorous, that you're going to backstab people, but at the same time, you have to work as a team with the traitors to like get everyone else out. While with the faithful, you're genuinely wanting to win as a group, as a collective to get someone out. Mike was very clever. I have to say, Mike was very clever the way he did it. He did it very subtly. No one knew that he was doing it. Jane didn't have a sneaky suspicion at all. She didn't have a sniff of what was going on.
Jane is my favourite traitor.
I love her
She's
English
a fellow
accent.
Brit.
I love that she every now and then comes out with her like London accent or Northern accent.
What the fuck's going on here?
Yeah. Oh, fuck me, it's a beach.
Yeah, I like Jane. So I worry that she's... Because when the traitor does this, and he did do that lie where he was like, Whitney made a pact with me to get rid of you, even though that wasn't true. But like, because he's done this, she's going to be like, I can't trust you. And then we're going to have the thing where they're both going to go against each other.
Oh yeah, this is where it's heading now.
Family's going to break up.
Do you think though that this has taken the heat off Noel now? Because Noel was the second most votes. But this is, yes, they have an opportunity.
Him and they'll be like, well...
What, throw him under the bus like they did with Jackie?
And then Jane will be like, no, we need to team up and get rid of Mike.
But would Noel accept it, knowing
it might
full
be
well?
Accept or die.
No, that's
letter.
Too early to do that. The accept or die letter happens in like the final episode or the penultimate episode. The accept or die is too early for that. Noel will have the choice. Now, if Noel does get given an opportunity to become a traitor, again, Noel has gained a lot of good faith this episode. He's had an opportunity to talk to people.
Yeah, he just stayed a bit quiet, didn't he?
He didn't. I disagree. He didn't stay quiet.
At the round table, he did.
No, he didn't. He fought his cause, and he convinced
when he
Utah.
Needed to, but like he wasn't saying much. Like,
Utah mouthed to Donna, "He's not as fake." I believe him.
Donna said no.
Donna did say no, but I know he wasn't quiet at all. He went for it. He really the moment he walked in at the breakfast table.
Okay, maybe quiet was the wrong word. Maybe I meant like he was like calm.
He stayed calm.
Like he wasn't calm. He wasn't putting himself.
He was confident. He was confident. He went straight to the breakfast table because he was the last one who walked in. And the first thing he said to the group with a confident tone, he said that, well, don't you think it's a bit convenient that I'm the one left here now, and now you're all thinking I'm a traitor? And that genuinely, you could just tell that genuinely changed minds until, of course, Paul walked in and interrupted him while he was screaming out. I was a bit upset with Paul for doing that because I think that Noel should have had his moment in the sun there because he didn't have it the last episode, which is the reason why he was having such an attack, because he had to dig his own grave. He didn't have an opportunity to defend himself. Noel's name has been coming out now for about 2 or 3 roundtables, and he's feeling like he has to push it, that he's not. And I think
one person who was on his side at the breakfast was Stephen.
Yeah.
Sadly, Stephen was talking to 2 traitors at the time.
Yes.
But he was the one saying traitors are playing us. Mm-hmm. That all 3 of them were faithfuls, and they were expected. So Stephen had it right. It's just he told 2 traitors. Well, sadly,
Stephen had it right until it came to the vote, and then he was the only one who voted for Mark. Which was, again, really out of field. Like, what was that about? Because, like, I think...
At least he's sticking to his own mind. He's clearly not someone who's swayed, I guess.
Well, I know that. But the thing is that Mark is someone who's on a lot of their radar, but they almost know... They know he's not a traitor because of the way he's playing the game. So they're kind of just keeping him in the game as a safe option to someone they can get rid of a bit later on, maybe, if they choose to. I think... Yeah.
Maybe he didn't know. Maybe he saw it was going to go between those 2 and he didn't want to vote for either, so he just went for a random person.
Well, I also feel like that's a sign that Stephen isn't in the loop. Like, Stephen's not joining in with group conversations as much as he should. Like, he had that, as you said, he had that conversation with the 2 traitors about saying that the traitors clearly have messed around, deliberately tried to confuse the group, and... to make them think that there was a traitor within those 3.
He's going to be one of those that just stay to the final.
Well, Stephen...
Yeah, because he's one of those, that the traitors are like, you're my mate, I'll just come on. We're faithful. He already thinks Mike and Whitney were faithful.
Do you not think that Stephen is the most likely up for the chop right now? Because he's the one who, if they do a murder, that we don't know if it's a murder, we don't know what's going on. What we saw was the conversation between Jane I don't think he's the Mike.
I think there's a few ones who could be murdered.
Yeah, but he talked openly to Mike and Whitney saying that he knows that Noel's not a traitor. And their agenda now is to push Noel's name.
Yeah, but Mike would be looking at that thinking, Stephen said that to me, so he must think I'm faithful, so I need to keep him on side. so he's not going to murder him because
he's going to become best mates with Steve.
Yeah,
I don't know. Steven's too out of the way at the moment that I don't think he's got enough leverage to kind of like convince other people in the group, and I just think we've seen that in the past, that some people have really good. They know that they're going the right direction. They're not quite nailing it with the people who it is, but they're going the right direction. But they just don't have enough leverage. And as soon as the traitors see that one individual is sniffing around too close to the truth, they're then gone.
But some of those you have to keep up to the fire pit because you need a.
But Mark is the one they're going to try to keep,
maybe,
because they know that Mark's a kind of like, no one's really sure about Mark, but I don't think Stephen throwing out his name as a vote is particularly a strong
keep
candidate.
Utah beside you by the fire pit, keep you warm.
You love Mo. I'm not the one with Utah. You're the one obsessed with Utah.
Well, the ones that we aren't taking to the fire pit, okay?
What's your name and where do you come from?
Yes,
because at the beginning of this episode, someone did die. We've just almost forgotten.
We've had a banishment and a death, haven't we?
Know,
although we've done Whitney already, haven't we? I forgot.
Yes. So Brianna, she was murdered in the night.
The beautifully, slightly insane Brianna, but we loved her.
Wears that badge with pride. So Brianna, 24, administrator, but we know she has other talents. I just looked on her Instagram because our fact file, which we know, the spinoff.co.nz, I did not write this. We're on one sentence here. So we can just...
Brianna deserves more than one sentence.
We can stretch it out.
That's
by
the equivalent.
Through her Instagram.
That's the equivalent of going to a funeral and there only being one other person there, bear witnessing.
My funeral. Right, so she is a data administrator by day, children's theatre actor by night. By night. It's one sentence and I can't even read it.
Mess it up.
Traitor 24/7 question mark. It seems likely. Two sentences.
She's not. She wasn't. So again, a very inaccurate article. But do you know what the question that's burning on everyone's lips really is about Brianna?
Is she a triple threat?
No.
I've seen her on Instagram. She can act. She's done a song and some producing.
Yeah.
Can she dance?
But what about, does she ride a bike to work?
Is that true? Does she ride a bike to the theatre?
Brianna, do you ride a bike to work for your data entry job / your theatre job?
Are you a triple threat?
Are you a triple threat? Can you sing, dance? Are you like Mr. G? Her talents, 1, 2, 3.
Or Beyonce.
Singing and dancing and acting.
Rihanna's not a triple threat.
Is her life. But Whitney, also, we need to ask, do you ride a bike to work? You're not Probably a triple threat because you unfortunately weren't able to control the traitors. It was such a shame with Whitney. She almost gave up, didn't she?
Yeah, like very, very quickly ran the round table. It's because she was blindsided, I think. I can't even find... Oh, here we are. Whitney. Right, she is a funeral director, embalmer, undertaker.
I'm questioning that now, Mike.
Triple threat.
Embalmer,
she
funeral director.
So there you go.
I have to say, like you said, that was such a loose thing to say. Like, you don't know what a cow's lung looks like.
I did think that, but I guess just putting any seed of doubt anywhere is enough sometimes to
Whitney took it with good pride. Though.
Although I did know before they even finished the votes, they did when they do the cutaway when they talk to camera, and Whitney was doing something to camera. You can tell sometimes because they're recorded afterwards. She had red eyes. So it's like she's been crying. Or she's been like emotional, so you can sometimes tell when you watch their
I sometimes think that it might be also that they had a tricky round table and there was relief afterwards.
It's not like a done deal, but it kind of makes you think, what's happened here? Why is she upset? You see that on Drag Race sometimes. I notice.
Can we
stuff like that fascinates me, the bits to camera.
The bits they do afterwards. I mean, it must be such a long process, mustn't it? Because because that's the other thing. In a lot of shows, reality shows, they normally do it in front of a green screen. So you could have like 3 different rooms where they could record these. So you could have 3 different crews doing it. But it might be done in front of a green screen. It's just very good, green screen. But they seem to just do it in one room. So
and they wear different outfits on the traitors. So sometimes they're wearing a random outfit. And there was one series where there was a woman, she had a big hat on once. And we were like, why does she have a big hat on? And then like she was eliminated like 4 episodes later. It's like, that was a continuity. Spoiler.
That's the thing. They can't cut in, like again in Drag Race, they have to use they wear the same clothes because then they can cut in something they said a week ago into something that happens later in the series.
Ben could say Britney's a bitch on episode 7.
Bean.
But put it in episode 4. If they wore the same outfits, but they don't. So But yeah,
Bean's
those-
gone very quiet, may I add. I
Yeah,
never write a note
him.
about Bean, not very often anymore.
He said a few things this week, but
Well,
not
Ciali
much.
is obsessed with Noel. Donna's obsessed with Noel. So them two, I don't think whatever Noel says will ever shake off the theory that it's him.
Bailey stepped out a bit. She was a bit quiet before. Her and Brittany were doing stuff, but I feel like I've not seen much of Molly. Molly's now the one I've not seen much of.
Yeah, Molly hasn't done much. Bailey was
Maybe
enjoying her
she'll be murdered.
McDonald's. I remember thinking that when I was watching.
Who was?
Bailey, she was having a lovely time.
Wow.
She was
Free
munching right into it.
McDonald's in the car. How long had it been sitting in that car? Who knows?
That's true.
Where's the
It's
closest
gone a bit
McDonald's?
sweaty. It's like a Just Eat order. You're like watching the car driving around all around the houses until it gets to your
Especially
house.
where they were filming in that lighthouse. There's definitely not a McDonald's near.
Well, and also who went because they drove their own cars there. So who drove to get the McDonald's?
Paul Henry.
That poor productionist. Can you imagine that poor? What does Paul Henry eat for his McDonald's? And does
doesn't
he
eat.
put?
He drinks only.
Do you think he just asked for like a Diet Coke and then just put a drop of his gin inside?
He drinks the murdered. He eats the murdered every
the blood
every
of the
episode.
murder. Do you think
Yeah.
he ate the offal after it finished? Like
The
when the
hoof?
cameras, when the cameras switched off, you just saw him like munching away at this
Those
heart.
traps were dangerous as well, I want to say.
No, look, I've said this to you.
Mouse traps
Those mouse
and
traps would have just given a
needles.
little bump. They would have. They probably would have downgraded the springs. It would have just been a little bump.
I didn't hear any of them snap though. Were all of them just not on or what?
Oh, they may have put them on safety.
It still looks dangerous, like something could have happened with those things pointing up.
They were
Yeah, but
shaved off.
Yeah, but you could have done something. I
Like
feel.
what?
I don't know.
Oh,
Just danger.
it's not danger.
So we don't even know if anyone's up for murder. We don't know if it's a recruitment. They didn't really show us much. It's just Jane basically said, "I need a fucking word with you tonight, boy." In a British accent.
Yeah. Oh, but I need a fucking talk, boy.
She went all copper, British copper.
What you fucking done to us traitors this time, you twat?
So I just feel that Jane can't trust him now, and Mike has shown his dark side with his all black attire.
Mark, it was always in Mike. Let's be honest, it was always there.
Yeah,
we
and
just were waiting
he wants to
out.
pick his own traitors. He said basically his own team. So
Well, then Jane, you're in trouble. This is why we reckon the next episode might be a mad scramble for Jane and Mike to recruit.
it's going to be that. Yeah, Jane's going to, if they recruit someone, Jane's going to pull that new traitor to side and see, like, listen, we can't trust him. She's going to be like, he got rid of Jackie, he got rid of Whitney, he's going to get rid of us, we get rid of him. And yeah, but it depends who that traitor is going to be. I don't know who they would recruit. No, if they want to throw someone under the bus, they can recruit Noel and then get him gone the next episode to confuse them with numbers. But if, I don't know, Brittany, she's quite close with Mike, isn't she?
Well, I was about to say Mike is close and Bailey is close with Mike. Jane is close with Kat. And I feel
Donna.
and I feel like she's close with Donna as well. I mean, Mark, I reckon they were a team together and they seemed to get along really well as well. In the car afterwards, they quite quickly, there was no argument or anything. It was quite quickly the consensus because they had to choose which two were going to get the shield. Jane was the one actually who brought up, like, it doesn't really matter. All four of us are safe, even though she's the traitor. But, she gave this genuine kind of
two
appeal.
shields as well. We don't know who we've given to
Kat
yet
and Donna.
either.
Kat and Donna got
Oh,
them.
they did do that.
Yeah,
They confirmed
Mark said, I think Kat and Donna should get them
that.
because
they won't get murdered.
they won't get murdered.
Banished, whatever.
Yeah, sorry.
yeah,
Kat and Donna have the shields, but then if there's no murder, which we're suspecting there won't be, and they'll try to recruit Noel, which I agree wholeheartedly, I think that is what they'll try to do, then they're safe. But I think Jane has Donna, and the problem is, can she convince Donna not to try her vote out for Noel again? And
Also,
try
we've
to
been
go
really
for
bad at predicting things this series. Every time we predict something, they do the opposite. So, who
I mean,
knows what
you
they're
didn't
going to do?
suspect that there was a brother and sister. There must be. I'm sorry, there's still halfway
Are
to
we?
go.
Okay.
There must be a family twist there somewhere. I'm
No, there-
insistent there is a family twist in this
Well, in
series somewhere.
Kat's promo picture, Kat looks like a detective from a crime drama. So maybe she's related to
Do
Jane.
you know who I thought she looked like? Who was the character in Wentworth whose husband got shot? He played
The biker
yeah.
woman. Rita, the beater.
Rita. Don't you think Kat looks like Rita?
Rita, the beater energy.
Rita the beater energy.
Yeah.
I reckon, I see that. And if she's got the same energy and the same, spunk as Rita, then I think Kat's a hidden gem and she
I
just
said that
needs
on
to
episode 2.
kick
Kat,
out a little bit.
Watch out for Kat. There's something about her.
I'm up for that.
Right, so that's us done for episode 5. Episode 6 will be coming out very shortly if you are listening to this. It may already be out. Who knows? But if you're listening to this one, you can get in touch with us if you want your theories.
Well, don't
Your
forget,
predictions.
if you're listening or watching Brianna and Whitney, to let us know.
All right.
I want to know if people ride bikes to work.
Be a bit subtle. Like a desperate old tart.
I am desperate. I'm desperate for attention. I don't get enough. Faithful to the traitors at gmail.com is our email address. Send us a long form email or a short one or a picture. I did ask for someone to send a picture.
Video cassette tape.
I tell you, if you want to send us an of audio, what do they call them?
A video
voice
cassette
note,
tape.
a video.
That's all you know.
A video note or a video cassette note or an audio note. Again, more than welcome to accept it, and we will join and play it on the show and listen. If you are listening to us on Spotify or indeed watching us on Spotify or any of your favourite podcast apps, don't forget to subscribe and give us 5 stars if you enjoy the show. You can also watch the podcast by going to YouTube and searching Faithful to the Traitors podcast, where with that and on our Twitter at Faithful's Podcast, on our Instagram and Threads at Faithful to the Traitors, we are now playing little short clips on there as well. So you can get a taste.
That means you have to make them. Now you've said it.
I will make one. I will make one.
You just said clips.
Well, there's 2 clips already on there.
Video cassette tape.
There's many video
That's
cassette
why it takes
tapes.
you so long to make them, because you're there with your vinyl and your cassette tapes.
Well, I've got my 2 video playback systems and then my 3rd VCR for recording, and it's very hard to record in the old days. I thought you were hovering, ready for another sound. Okay. If you like the show, please don't forget to support us. Go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful, where you can throw us some silver bars. We've not quite reached the dizzying heights of $34,500 worth like they have on this series of New Zealand. However, everything is very lovely and beautiful and great, and we love it, and thank you ever so much.
We should have a leaderboard of each country of the traitors, how many silver bars they've given us, just to push everyone to give us lots of money.
I'm not doing that. I mean,
you don't want to bully people?
If anyone wants to pay us to do like a special episode, I would. If anyone's got any suggestions for something they'd like to see us do.
Pardon?
I'm whoring myself out.
Literally.
Enough talk.
There's one last thing I must mention.
Right.
If you also want to support the show, you can also get by sharing us with your friends, subscribing, ringing the bell, and all those good things.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah,
None of
it
the
is the best
silver
way to do
bar.
it.
Just share the downloads.
Just
around.
share them. Retweet.
That's what McDonald's want. Downloads.
I would love McDonald's to get in touch with me and give me a lifetime supply of McPlants.
Okay.
And Paul Henry, it's not too late to send us a bottle of your gin.
Right. So, until next time, everyone, stay faithful.